Good evening, I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Prime Minister Frondell Stewart is speaking out against the brand of politics exhibited by the Barbados Labour Party this election campaign, as he fears it can take the country backwards. He told supporters at a joint St. James South and St. James Central political meeting at Thorpe's the stakes are high. Prime Minister Stewart says, however, he is moved by the feedback on the ground and is confident of victory on Thursday. He doesn't want voters and DLP supporters to stay home this election. The Prime Minister also wants polling station workers to be vigilant, as he doesn't want a repeat of what happened during a vote count in the 1970s.
In 1976, in the constituency of St. Michael South East, a count was on, and while that count was going on, the Democratic Labour Party's candidate John Connell was in the lead. And all of a sudden, the electricity went off. And by the time the electricity came back on, his opponent, Delay Bradshaw, was in the lead. And I want to say to you that you cannot underestimate the capacity of the Barbados Labour Party.
Despite being around for a short period of time, the DLP's candidate for St. James Central says he's made an impact in that constituency. George Connolly says he's been able to kickstart many projects which have improved the lives of residents.
A program, and we put together a project, and we have a 52-step walkway, first class, going from the bottom to the top of that Berbice Road now. And I have only been in this race for 6 months, and a man that has been there for 15 years had a political meeting on my very same steps.
Barbados Labour Party leader Mia Motley has described Prime Minister Frondell Stewart's decision to remove this country from the Caribbean Court of Justice if re-elected as madness. She told a crowd attending a BLP meeting at Bank Hall St. Michael last evening that Mr. Stewart's intention is further evidence that Barbados democracy is at risk.
What madness is this? And all because the court tell them that the people from the Caribbean and the Commonwealth got to vote? Well, I done tell the people, trust me, the Prime Minister said that is so. But how come he ain't talked about it 3 weeks ago? How come he ain't talked about it 4 weeks ago?
Just 3 days before the 2018 general elections, the Barbados Labour Party candidate for St. Michael West, Bishop Joseph Atherley, says the relationship between candidates and those they represent has to change after government's failed efforts to transform communities.
We've got to expand democratic privilege in this country. We have to change the nature of the relationship between the government and the people. We have to change the nature of the relationship between those who occupy the seats of Parliament and those of us who occupy the streets of Barbados. And we have to change that relationship. The governed must make their voices heard.
Barbadians beware, vote buying is illegal. That reminder from Shadow Minister of Finance for Solutions Barbados, Scott Weatherhead, who was speaking at a spot meeting in Weston to endorse candidate for St. James North, David Waldron. Weatherhead, who's also Christchurch East Central's candidate, says vote buying is a transaction with repercussions.
If someone says to you, I want to give you some money and I want you to vote for me, then he or she has paid you for your vote. And once you vote for them, the transaction is over. Because he has paid you and you have voted. And he no longer owes you anything further. He doesn't owe you bus service. He doesn't owe you sanitation services. He doesn't owe you proper health care. He doesn't owe you water in your constituency. He doesn't owe you good roads or a functioning sewage system. He owes you nothing. Because he has paid you for what you have given him. You gave him a vote, and he paid you for it.
Youth who are preparing to leave secondary school and enter the world of work will be well equipped to start their own business under a Solutions Barbados government. That's according to St. Michael's South Central candidate Alan Springer. Springer said the current education system in Barbados is not geared towards entrepreneurship.
They will come out with a marketing skill, and they will either have a job or we will train them to run their own businesses. You see, the fact is in Barbados, we have more people than we have jobs. So if anyone says to you or promise you a job, they are lying because they don't have a job to give you. There are more people than jobs. But here, if you don't have a job, you have the opportunity to run your own business. So we are going to encourage an enterprise and entrepreneurial culture in Barbados.
Under a United Progressive Party leadership, some communities across Barbados will be encouraged to become self-sufficient in meeting their needs. That's according to candidate Herman Lowe, who's running in the constituency of St. Michael West Central. During a meeting last evening in Grisette's, St. Michael, Mr. Lowe revealed his vision for the constituency is to have it incorporated as a cooperative so residents can benefit.
As a cooperative entity, then therefore the constituents will deposit some of their earnings into their cooperative. It belongs to them. And this is how the constituency now will start now to answer to some of the issues I spoke of earlier. Mutual care, mutual welfare, funerals, weddings, graduations, all the different necessaries that create good community and good family life.
Meanwhile, United Progressive Party St. George North candidate Everton Holligan has acknowledged a high level of voter apathy in Barbados with both older and younger people.
This high level of apathy interferes with our ability to be productive, but not only just productive, but innovative. When we have this dichotomy being created with the elders or the people who are apathetic to the leaders of the country, and then they don't contribute to the democracy because they feel as though leaders are being corrupt, they're running away with the public's purse in some cases, and then this continues to fester in the population, and then you have a population of people who are disinterested in what goes on within their country and basically are looking out for own self-interest.
The Barbados Labour Party continues to engage supporters and the wider public ahead of Thursday's general election. It held a motorcade through St. Michael this morning. Hundreds of supporters in their red party colors converged on the Roebuck Street headquarters, where several trucks and other vehicles prominently displayed pictures of the BLP candidates. It was just after 11 that the motorcade moved off, led by party leader Mia Motley and under the guidance of a police escort. Some of the areas they were expected to pass through included Bank Hall Main Road, President Kennedy Drive, Deacons Road, Tweedside Road, and the Ivy, among others. Today marks 60 years since former Prime Minister, the late Right Excellent Errol Walton Barrow, first represented the constituency of St. John. And DLP candidate George Pilgrim spent the day with constituents reminiscing about the man widely regarded as the father of independence. Some residents recalled personal interactions with Mr. Barrow while expressing their continued loyalty to the ruling party and his legacy. Pilgrim, who will be facing the polls in St. John for the first time on Thursday, says if given the opportunity to serve, he will ensure May 21st is marked as a day of political significance.
The work that Barrow has done for St. John, the work that Barrow has done for Barbados, the work that Barrow has done for the Caribbean is very fond in the memories of the good folks of St. John. I want to be able to find a way for the young people in St. John to have an appreciation for May 21st as a day of significance in the life of the St. John people. It cannot go unremembered.
Okay, we'll take a short break here and come back with more news. Police are continuing their investigations after taking several men into custody following a shootout with police last night. Lawmen reportedly intercepted a motor vehicle during an operation in the area of Kew Road, St. Michael, around 9:30. The occupants of the vehicle shot at the police, who returned fire. No one was injured as a result. Police seized a number of firearms and held a number of male suspects who are assisting with investigations. A flood warning issued by the Barbados Meteorological Services for Barbados this morning has been discontinued, but not before flooding in some parts of the island. Reports suggest that some central, western, and northern communities experienced heavy rainfall, resulting in flooding. A check with the Department of Emergency Management found, however, that there were no reports requiring the agency's personnel to be pressed into action. Sports News is next.